What's up, y'all? Will here at Schedulefly. Got an opportunity this week to do another in-person episode. I love those so much. Man, they're fun. You know, all these are fun, and doing them over Zoom is great too, but there's just something more meaningful in the conversation when you're doing it in person and you have a headsets and mic and you're just locked in, right? You put that headset on and you have that microphone in front of you and you're not distracted and you're just dialed in, and you just find that these conversations just have a little more depth. I feel like I'm able to engage people better in person. But nevertheless, the Zoom ones are great too, for sure. And we've had a lot of great episodes on Zoom. So this is with Andrew Harris, one of the owners at the Warmack here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Warmack has been open a couple of years. Chef Nobu is just great reputation. This place has got incredible design. I mean, everything about it's awesome. And Andrew is just a super dude. He actually was a college basketball player here in Charlotte at Queen's University. Blew out his knee freshman year. Started waiting tables or serving at the one of the local country clubs, and the rest is history. And the industry is better off for it. He's a great dude. Loves what he does. He's good at what he does. And I really enjoy talking to him. If you're in the Charlotte area, live here or visiting here, go check out the Warmack. It's in a great part of town too. Just so much cool stuff going on around there. We had a cool story about the bar across the street that Mick Jagger went to a couple of years ago, and the Rolling Stones were here. And so dial in, listen to that story and a lot more for this episode. But first, a word from our sponsor, Pop Menu. Pop Menu is also a partner of ours at Schedulefly and has a great company with a great product and great service. So Pop Menu is all about making your day easier and your sales bigger. They will simplify your marketing operations, bring in more guests, and capture customer data for personalized remarketing to keep them coming back. With one super simple to use platform that integrates with most point of sales like Toast and Square and a number of others, Pop Menu starts with a beautifully designed, easy to update, interactive menu that transforms the guest experience online. It includes a brand new website that's optimized for search engines like Google for no additional cost, automated digital marketing, online ordering and waitlisting, and you'll never miss another call with their AI answering solution. That costs as little as 47 cents an hour, and they've already answered over 1 million calls with this in a short amount of time that they've rolled it out, since they've rolled it out. And there's just so much more in there. And let me just say personally, you know, I've interacted with a lot of people at Pop Menu. I've just been impressed with everybody. They work hard. They take great care of their customers. They love what they do. Their leadership treats their team really well. Their team treats their customers really well. And our mutual customers are very happy. I've spoken to a lot of them. And we've actually had a lot since Pop Menu became a partner that have switched over from another provider and gone to Pop Menu, and they've been real happy. So check them out. Link in the show notes or the show description. And with that, here we go with Andrew Harris of the Warmack. See ya. All right, so we are recording. I'm here in Charlotte, North Carolina, home base for me, folks. This is Will here at Schedulefly, and I am at the Warmack, right across the street from Thirsty Beaver. We have a little story to tell about that, but I'm with Andrew Harris, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this today, man.
Absolutely.
So tell us introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Andrew Harris. I'm one of the owners here at Warmack. We've been open since February of 2021. We're a Japanese restaurant with some craft cocktails as well.
So a little over 2 years, or right at 2 years.
Right at 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, well, congrats on that.
Thank you.
So I always like to start with this, man. Like, how did you get bit by the hospitality bug? How and when?
So I got bit probably when I was 20 years old. I went to Queen's University here in Charlotte. It was off season for me for basketball and needed to make some money, so I went to Myers Park Country Club to learn how to serve.
So you played basketball at Queens?
I did.
Okay.
I played one semester before I blew my knee out, and that was it.
Okay.
But yeah, so I went up to Myers Park Country Club and tried to become a server, and then just kind of fell in love with it. I like talking to people, and it was just the fast pace was great. And I took it more on the idea of I was going to be able to connect with someone there. There's the motto, fake it till you make it.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's not a bad place to have a job,
Exactly.
Myers, but right. Yeah, sure.
So I figure, I'll just, if I play my cards right, then I can set myself up for a prosperous future.
Okay. So, well, okay, I have to ask. So you went to Queen. Are you from here?
I'm not. My mom is.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Mount Airy.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So not too far.
How long have you been in Charlotte?
Since 09.
Since 09.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So pretty instantly you figured out when you're over there at Myers Park, outside of like trying to find some good content, which is like, for folks listening, it's like a super high-end country club here in Charlotte, right near Queens.
Right.
Good contacts, demanding clientele.
Yes.
For sure. Well, okay, so what happened after that? How long were you there?
I was there for off and on for about a year and a half.
Okay.
Actually ended up working for two of the members.
Oh, okay.
First member I worked for, he owns a HVAC company here in town. Took me in, worked my way up to a warehouse manager and almost like a personal assistant to him. Left and went to a different HVAC company to be their warehouse manager. Then went into real estate school and worked for the second member.
Okay.
For his firm.
Okay.
So it kind of did work out.
It kind, yeah, exactly what you were. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's perfect.
But I was there for off and on about a year and a half, and then went to another local establishment called Selling Pub.
Oh yeah. Okay. Where a lot of those people probably hang out.
Exactly.
When they're not at Myers Park.
Right. And then I caught wind of that because my business professor is the owner with his dad. So
Okay.
that was the connection there. And then I bounced around from different country clubs. I love the country club atmosphere.
Okay.
It's just a little bit more laid back.
Yeah.
You kind of get to know the members, and again, I was using that edge of trying to find a connection to further myself.
Yeah.
And so far it's done really well for me.
When did you get back into hospitality?
I got back into it, I guess, really full time about 8 months ago.
Okay.
I came into this venture in September of 2021 and was mainly getting into this as a silent partner, and this was just going to be kind of something fun.
Uh-huh.
And it turned into where I needed to be there more often. And in order to make sure this place does prosper, I had to quit my job, my career in real estate, and jump into this full time.
Okay.
So this is my baby now, and taking care of it.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's a heck of a play. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we hold about 168 people. We got indoor seating. It's definitely got a very loungy vibe to it. And then we've got a front and a back patio too that seats about another 70 people or so, maybe close to 80 if I push it.
And okay, so you came in as a part. You invested after it had gotten go. How does that happen?
So there was a partner that was kind of wanting out. He wanted to go on to do something else, and I was kind of the right place, the right time.
Gotcha. Okay. Good deal. So and then it's been here 2 years. It's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of good things. Very freaking great design. Your chef has got a great reputation.
Chef's amazing.
Yeah. So are you? So you're here. So this is your full-time gig now.
This is it.
Okay, got it. What's been the hardest part about that? I mean, because that's a big change getting back in from real estate into this scene.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it, my first year in real estate, I think I worked all of 360 days.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 days I had off were because I was sick or there was a family emergency or something along those lines. So, and then I worked all the time. I remember my first client worked third shift, so the only time I really talked to him was during his shift because he would sleep during the day.
Yeah.
So I remember getting a phone call from him at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Hey, Andrew, I'm looking at this house. What
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah.
Oh my God, man, it's 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same kind of atmosphere here. So the hours, it really hasn't really changed for me. It's just working the long hours on your feet.
Yeah.
And getting my body back used to standing up and working in that kind of capacity. But I think the hardest thing that I've had to realize and deal with is hiring loyal or responsible staff.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I want to get into, because that has become ever more challenging over the last. It was never easy, but boy, in the last couple of years, has it become challenging.
It has.
COVID changed the way people think and operate, and opened up new opportunities. And this generation that's coming through just has a different way of, looking at things, for better or worse or whatever. So tell me about that, man.
Yeah, I mean, our biggest issue we've had here is we've gone through a couple of GMs.
Couple of GMs.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reason why I just said, screw it. I mean, this means a lot to me. I want to further myself in this industry, and franchise is the idea, and got in about probably 5 or 6 years. First GM did not last, but maybe a couple months from what I understand, and he was let go. The second one came in, did a great job, but wanted to pursue another career, so he left. And then we had another GM who refused to pay bills for about 7 months. So I find out, I come in and the AC's not working, and then I go back in the office, I see all these stack of bills. I'm like, what's all this? He goes, oh, well, I was making sure that the staff got paid. I was like, well, how are they going to get paid if the rent's not paid or the power bill is not paid? I mean, it was bad. So I had to take care of all these delinquent bills. And then my last one, I mean, I guess, really it's my fault, essentially, or the other partners are with me. We were not paying attention to payroll. So he was actively going in, changing his pay on payroll, and not clocking in and clocking out in the middle of the night on days that he wasn't there, to the tune of almost $100,000.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Holy
cow.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How do these guys get jobs in this industry when you're doing stuff like that?
I have no idea. I mean, honestly, he was taking advantage of the situation. He knew we weren't going to probably look at the payroll. Yeah. None of us really knew how to do the payroll.
Yeah.
We were all very hands-off at the time, which, that's just kind of reflects us as ownership was not doing what it was supposed to do. So
you got to have somebody that you got to have at least one that's what you're doing now.
Exactly.
You got to have somebody that's in there that knows what's going on, knows all the details, knows how it all works, knows how everything, money comes in, money goes out, all that stuff.
Yeah.
If not, it's a great industry, but there are definitely people that will,
for sure,
take advantage of that.
It was pretty blatant.
Golly, man, that is freaking nuts.
So, that's the hardest part, I think, is just finding good staff that you can trust, especially on the major level. Everyone's going to tell you they know that they are a GM material, or they've done it before, or this and that. The reality, from what I've seen so far, is none of them really know exactly how to do the full job. It's like they're like a glorified hourly key. So that's been the hardest part, is trying to find that person. But then that person's going to cost you too.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, so what do I do if I'm trying to grow my business?
Yeah.
And trying to make as much profit as I can right now to either upgrade the building I'm in or use it to go to the next venture.
Yeah.
It's like, so you just kind of have to either, do I just bite the bullet and do it myself? Or do I just say, hey, this is the only place I want to have, and I want to just be complacent at that point without having to dump more money into it.
Right. Do you all own this building?
We do not. We rent.
Okay.
We rent. But the landlord's been great with us. I haven't had any issues with them.
What was here before the Warmack?
Pint Central.
Okay. It didn't make it through COVID? Or?
No, they actually had a situation where there was a shooting in the parking lot.
Oh, really?
That's a crazy story from what I understand. So evidently one of the owners was friendly with one of the employees who was married.
Uh-huh.
And the husband came up here and was looking for the owner. And the manager on duty at the time told me he wasn't here, and he followed him out to the parking lot. And the husband had his son in the back seat and pulled out a gun and shot him in the gut. The guy survived, thank God.
Holy cow!
But that was kind of the end after that happened.
When did this happen?
Happened probably. We bought this place and everything. I think it happened in like 2018, 2017.
Okay, so before COVID. Okay.
Yeah, before COVID.
Wow. Good grief, man.
It was wild.
Have you any? I mean, this seems like this is I guess maybe it's changed a lot in the last few years. I mean, this is certainly a very fast growing.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many good restaurants and bars and lots of young people living in this part of town now. And
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't think of it as a.
No, I think it was just kind of one-off
It was
thing.
just
I think it was heat of passion, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I mean,
Golly.
I would be upset too if my wife was sleeping with someone else.
Yeah, no, I got
But
it. Good grief. Well, so we're across the street from the Thirsty Beaver, which is how long has that place been there? Do you know?
man, I have no idea.
I mean, they built that condo thing like around it. I guess
And
the
I
guy
remember
wouldn't sell
that.
the building or something.
He
Is it?
refused to sell.
Like-
so he was like, "You're going around me because I'm not selling it." Because he owns that little plot.
Yeah.
And they tried to force him out, and he was like, he's holding ground. Remember, like they were actually, I think, out of business for a little bit too.
Really?
Because of construction and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he's like, screw it, I'll just close down and wait.
Wow, that's pretty wild. So the reason I bring it up for those of you listening is Andrew and I were talking about this before we started recording. There was a Rolling Stones concert here a year and a half ago or whatever. My teenage daughter and I went, and there was this picture taken of Mick Jagger standing outside drinking a Bud Light, and nobody knew who he was. He was standing by himself like one of the most famous rock stars in history, and there he was. And so he put it on his Instagram. He thought it was funny. He's like, nobody even knows who I am. I'm just standing here by myself like somebody was out. But I didn't realize it was right there. That's a really fascinating backdrop there. It's like this condo tower built all around that entire block except for that one little. And Thirsty Beaver is small. Y'all go to their Instagram, check it out. But you actually offered him a shot without knowing who he was either.
I was like 3 feet from him, and I come up to the bar, and I've been drinking a little bit, and I was buying shots for all my friends outside, and he was sitting there. I was like, hey, can I buy you a shot? And he was like, no, I'm good. He goes, it looks like you're having a good night. I was like, yes, sir, I am. I was like, hope you have a good night, and that's kind of it. But, I mean, I thought the guy was homeless. I mean, he was just a little man, and he was just tiny.
God.
And he was just kind of disheveled looking, and just kind of kept to himself. He's a super nice guy.
You and your bum knee on your feet all the time. You need to find out what his workout regimen is. Dude's 79. He's like doing full squats on the stage and running around, and like we were blown away. My daughter and I were. I was like, I can't. Like if I bet there's like literally there's probably like no more than like 179-year-olds on the face of the earth that can move that well. I mean, like literally.
I agree.
Like, and he of course has all the resources he needs to help. But I mean, I think he has like a masseuse that like. I literally like goes for like 2 hours before every show and loosens him up or all this kind of stuff. But good grief.
Must be nice.
Yeah, must be nice. So you got a lot of really cool places around here.
I do.
I mean, a lot of stuff opening. Is that good? Is that like rising tide lifts all boats, gets more people down here?
Yeah, and like so I'm working on trying to get a rooftop bar permitted and built. I want to try to get that done winter of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're building that 400 new doors on that new apartment complex up the road.
Oh, really?
And they're building a rooftop bar and lounge on that. But that won't be done until 2027. So I was like, okay, well, if I get my place done first, I'll be the only place right now in Plaza with a rooftop bar with a city view.
How's the permitting for that going?
Working on it.
I mean, has other people tried and couldn't do it, or is it just?
I just haven't got a chance to get around to really present it.
Yeah.
I'm working with an architect, and then my GC actually comes in here very often. He probably comes in here 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay.
If it's to-go food or whatnot, but he's going to help me out with it. Because currently right now there's not a rooftop terrace with a city view anymore because of that parking structure.
Wow, that's fascinating. Well, that would be a good place to have it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Are you so y'all would like to eventually franchise this, you think?
Right.
Versus grow it organic, owning and operating a bunch of locations.
Correct.
What are the pros and cons of that?
I don't know. Not really sure yet. I think that's just kind of the idea of what my partner wants to do, and him and I right now are the ones that are operating it. So something that he's thinking about doing. Because I definitely want to, for whatever reason, I'm fascinated with New Orleans. Because my fiance's brother was one of the top bartenders there and wants to look for a space of his own. So I want to move a location down there with him and let him run it.
Okay, that's all. One of the top bartenders down in New Orleans, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's saying a lot. There's a lot of good bartenders down there.
Exactly. I mean, the guy does. I mean, his cocktail list is incredible.
Well, there's a customer of ours that's going through that process now. Bohemian Bull. They're out of Charleston. Bohemian Bull Tavern and Beer Garden, and he ran that place 6-7 years, and started working on the franchising thing. Spent the last, spent 2 or 3 years getting it all teed up, and then last year, 2022, he started selling licenses. He sold like 6 in the first year. They're opening like Greenville, Dallas, Houston, Mount Pleasant, which is near, like he's the other side of Charleston, but he's got a franchisee. But he's anyway, when you get serious about it in a few years, Chad Beal's his name. I'll hook you up with him. He's a great guy. And
awesome.
I mean, he's just like figured it all out, and he's doing all that now. They'll have a bunch of those places. Simple concept,
Yeah.
Bohemian Bull Tavern and Beer Garden. It's like they got really good burgers and good beer, and
It works.
Yeah, it does. All that stuff. It's a tough formula, though. Like, I mean, you're seeing all this now. It's one thing serving. Now you've got you got somebody on a ladder over here. You got stuff that's just happening non-stop, like decisions to be made, and there's a lot of moving pieces in these businesses. I always have a lot of admiration for y'all when you figure it out, because I think it's quite a puzzle to piece it all together. Like managing people, dealing with all the unique things that happen in a restaurant situation. You're dealing with every part of the economy, literally.
Yeah.
More so than probably any other industry, and then in addition to all that, you got to figure out how do you get people to come in here and keep them coming back and make them happy, day in, day out. It's no small feat.
It's not.
But it's very rewarding. But it presents a daily legit challenge. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, what I've been told is that you can have okay food but great service, and people will always come back.
Mm-hmm.
You can have great food and crappy service, and it will never work.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I stress to my servers. Listen, people are coming here for experience.
Yeah.
When I served, that's what I loved, because I held myself to such a high standard. When they came in, I treated them like they were in a country club, but they were really just in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So I try to explain that to my servers. Like, listen, it's like you got to learn to control the table, so you can flip the table, but at the same time make sure that they have the best service that they can possibly have.
Yeah.
Because the reality, they can stay at home and not go out, but they're here to be entertained, to be taken care of.
Yep.
So you got to treat them as such.
Yep.
And then that tip will reflect on the back end.
Did you all have a good January?
We did have a good January.
Seems like a lot of people had really good Januaries. I can't figure this out. They keep saying the economy's got all these issues, but
people are money.
People are going out. They're spending money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where it's all coming from, but it seems to be I'm hearing that over and over and over. So
yeah, I mean, February so far has been great. I mean, I can't complain one bit.
You definitely probably can't complain with here we are, middle of February, and I think it's gonna be 80 degrees here tomorrow or something like that. It's just freaking crazy. I mean, it's nice as heck out right now. I'm sure it'll go back and forth between now and true spring, but that's cool, man. So, and then you said your fiance, so you're engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that going on too.
I do.
When are you getting married?
Don't know yet. We got engaged about maybe almost a month ago.
Well, congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, then you throw in some kids, things. Yeah,
exactly.
Things will. It's
get a little more busy.
That's right, man. That's right. So, okay. I'm curious. You grew up in Mount Airy, which is where Andy Griffith was based on.
Yep.
That. And so you were a baller.
I was. I played football and basketball for the Mount Airy High School, same high school that Andy went to.
Yeah. Okay. And then you went to Queens. Mm-hmm. What happened to your knee?
I tore my MCL.
Your MCL?
Yeah, it was I think it was the practice or 2 practices before the very first game, and just went up for a routine layup, and I heard something pop. I came back down, and I was like, yeah, my knee just gave out. That's it.
Dang.
And I waited until this happened. I think it was in September, the end of September, 1st of October. And I didn't get any surgery done until December. And by that time, I was like, I'm done. The 2 days, and it was becoming more like a job. And the love for the game kind of was fading quickly.
Do you play any still, or you?
I haven't played in a while. I mean, since getting into this, there really isn't
no
any time right now.
Yeah. Well, I always think that you think of sports and like particularly team sports like that, you really learn to play off of each other and not just it's just different than an individual sport. It's kind of like in a restaurant, like you have this group of people and you got to all figure out a way to work together and overcome each other's obstacles and overcome each other's weaknesses and lean on each other's strengths. And
right.
It seems like when you've been on a lot of team sports, I mean, I would just imagine that would help in this environment.
I mean, I think it's helped me out in everything I've done in my career so far, whether it was real estate or if it was the hospitality industry or even the HVAC when I was doing that, just because you got to learn to work with people.
Yeah.
There's people that you'll get along with, people you don't, but the reality at the end of the day, you have to come to a common goal at the end.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's one thing that I've held on to is you're a leader or you're a follower.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So I mean, there's going to be a situation that you may not be comfortable with, but you got to do it because there's someone else that can step up to do it.
Yeah. Yep. Do you spend like how many people do y'all have here?
We have a total of I think it's like 19 employees, and that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, look, 19, if you, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like 19 people, we have 5 people in our whole company. So, I mean, like, it's like, to me, 19 is a lot. Like, dealing with 19 people would be challenging. But do y'all, like, what kind of things do y'all do to try to keep good people? Because it is so hard to find good people now, recruit them in. You have some that, as we went through, don't work out. But like, what are the things that y'all do to try to keep them? Because there's just a lot of competition for their loyalty and a lot of opportunities these days.
I think for me, I mean, like this has been the goal of mine is always own my own restaurant. Just working in different restaurants and being in it for a while, it's like you find out who the owners are. You're like, well, I wish I owned it because I would do it this way. Like one of the best owners I ever worked for was Rob Duckworth.
Oh, Duckworth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I worked
man.
there,
okay.
And Rob was great. I mean, more than the fact of like he's got all these different locations and all these people that work for him, but he knew me.
Yeah.
Because I stood out from, I guess, the rest because of my sales were higher.
Yeah.
But if he came in, he was very approachable. And I'll try to make that known here with my staff. It's like my door's always open. You can come to me. I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah.
Your opinion may be off the wall, but I'll always listen to you and take it into consideration. And then, of course, my chef in the back, Chef Nobu, he's got a great relationship with all his guys. So they stay with him just because they know that he's going to take care of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's the only way that I've been able to keep the people I have so far is just to be honest with them and be transparent. If they've got a problem, they come to me and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, money talks, right? So if they're making money, they're going to be happy.
Yeah.
If they're not making money, then that's usually when you're going to start losing people.
Yeah.
But then there's that fine line. Okay, you're making money, but how do I keep them honest? So you do checks and balances on them. Hey, so let's do a liquor count and see what's going on. Then we count the drawer at the end of the night, make sure everything's right. If the drawer's off, then that's coming out of your tips. Or if you over-tip someone, that's coming out of your tips. You give away a drink up to a certain amount, then that's going to come out of y'all's stuff. So you do little things like that to keep them honest, but people want to be where they can make money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why I got into it. I was like, man, I can make $200-$300 a night. It's great.
Yeah.
It's cash.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like early 20s. I was like, this
Sure.
is going out so fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's one of the things to keep people happy is you have a positive environment. You've got a management or ownership that's willing to listen and be transparent with you. And at the end of the day, if you're busy and they're making money, I mean, those are 3 things that I believe make a staff happy.
Why were your sales always high? Like, why were you good at sales? What did you do well?
So I would go in. So Duckworth, we had his iPad, and then all of our beer, because they were a beer and bar food type establishment. I would go through the iPad, look at what were the most expensive beers. If it's like IPA or stout, I would pick out the different genres or different styles of beer and pick up the highest. And that's the things I would push it like crazy. And I mean, that's all I did. I think my busiest night, I had 2,500 in sales by myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How much do you make on a night like that as a server?
At that night, so you're looking at 500 is 100, so close to like I think I made like $600 to $700 that night.
That's not a bad night.
No.
Man, that's fantastic. When were you at Duckworth?
I was there. Trying to think now, 2000. I think it was like 2015 to 2018 ish.
Okay. They were a customer a while ago. They outgrew us. I think they moved into hot schedules or something. I don't know. They wanted like more bells and whistles, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, we have places that do it. Like they get to a certain point and they need all this stuff that we don't do and don't want to do. And there's a lot of companies that do it, so it's perfect. You know, we're like this little like when you want it simple and clean.
Right.
You know, we'll take great care of you, and it's great. And then if people get to the point where they need all this other stuff, I'm always like, dude, there's a dozen choices. Like, go for it. But, you know, if you like it simple, we're a good place. But I remember I talked to him a few times. Good
Robin,
dude.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I
think I had him on the podcast. I'm pretty sure I did, like way back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think for me, the most respect I have for him is the fact that we were just getting ourselves handled one night. We were in the weeds bad. And all of a sudden, I see Rob come in, and he goes straight back to the kitchen. And there's this fryer not on the front line, but on the back of the line. There's like a wall where the walk-in is. There's like 2 fryers. He turns them on and starts frying up wings and fries and stuff to help us out. I'm like, that's pretty cool. The guy's in his button-down and khakis frying food. So that's the kind of mentality that I try to keep in here. It's like, okay, if I'm going to tell you to do something, I'm going to do it too. Like, there's no reason why I can't get behind the bar to pour drinks or run food or bus tables or whatever I can do to help out my employees.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And if you just treat them like people instead of a number, I mean, that means everything.
There was a we used to do this film series. It was all under this, you know, the same as this podcast, Restaurant Owners Uncorked. And when I would have somebody on the podcast where maybe they were close enough to us, or there was something they were doing that was different or really stood out, we would go, and we have a friend who does film work, and we would go film. And there was a guy in Spartanburg. I was like, man, he seems like he's like really sharp. And so I'm like, can we come film you just talking about this stuff? But it was like these little short videos with successful restaurateurs sharing like their philosophies and stuff like that. Well, we're going to film them like a Wednesday morning. So we go down there Tuesday night, and we're eating dinner at his place. Young dude, place is just hopping. And I noticed that like we're sitting there eating with him, but he could not stay focused on us because he was like looking around, and he would like see stuff. He'd be like, hang tight. And he'd jump up and like go bust a table. Like, I mean, he'd go like wipe just anything. Like he was just constantly eyes on it. And I was like sitting there, I'm like, I guarantee, like they'd only been open like a year or two. I was like, I know this guy is going to be successful. Anybody that does that,
right?
That's like that, because he could have just been like, my team, like I'm just going to hang, and like, you know, it's like this like glamour of the restaurant owner, like the sex appeal of like you're in your place and everybody's having a good time and you're just buying drinks. It's like no. Like the ones that are really, really successful are the ones that are like Rob did in the weeds. That like this guy Kenneth down there, where it was like he wasn't going to, like that place was going to be running as smooth as possible, and if it wasn't, then he's on it, period, end of story. And he's leading by example, like he's doing all this stuff. And we ended up making the film. That was, I was like, why don't we talk about like how you lead by example? And we had all this footage of him like just doing this stuff all day. And it was, and then like you look and you're like, well, obviously you can't work for that dude and not want to follow suit, like be lazy when he's like nonstop. And then he also, on the flip side, it's like he's never going to tell you to do something he doesn't do himself.
Right.
Which, to your point, it's like that's where people respect you. And when they respect you, they'll follow you.
Exactly. Because, I mean, for me, to gain respect is you have to earn it. It's not just,
you got to earn it.
You can't demand it.
Yeah.
I can't come in here and threaten people and put fear into their eyes. It's like you have to gain their respect and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. There's that, like, I think there was some of that in restaurants, back in the day, but dude, nobody's going to put up with that these days.
No.
Like, nor should they. Like, if my kid worked for somebody, I'd be like, just quit. Like, we'll find you something else. Like, trust me, there's other. So yeah, you have to lead them the right way for sure. But if you do, you'll create a loyal team. And I think, man, that's what you're doing here. And it's just like it's like incremental improvement every single day, like just a little bit better, and grow as a leader, and your team grows and the business grows. I love it, man. Love what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you taking the time to let me come down here and hang out today.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is fun. I need to get my bride back down here one night.
Yeah, please do.
Hang with y'all and have some dinner and stuff.
Definitely. On the weekends we get the live music, so it definitely is a spot that you need to come to and check it out.
One more thing I want to ask you. You got quite a stout bar back there.
Yeah.
That looks awesome.
Yeah.
You got a good drink program.
It is. And it's only going to get better, too.
Yeah. Well, rooftop, man, that'll be freaking sweet.
I can't wait. Okay, the idea is to have 120 people up there.
That's awesome.
And I'm super pumped about that.
Love it. Well, Andrew, man, I know you're a busy dude. I appreciate it. And y'all, thanks for listening. More episodes coming soon. See you.